Jesse, thumbs up. Okay, this meeting of the Millburn-Short Hills Business Organization is, am I not on? Green is go. This meeting of the Millburn-Short Hills Business Organization is called to order. Tracy, can you read the sunshine compliance statement?
Notice of the time, date, location, and agenda of this meeting, to the extent known, was provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting in the following manner, pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 10-436, the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice was posted in Town Hall and the Township's website by notification to newspapers on December 27, 2022 of the schedule for 2023, and by providing notice to the Township Clerk.
Thank you, Tracy. Please stand. Flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alexa Clark. Here. Carlo Caparuba.
Here.
Tracy Katz-Levine, me, here. Jesse Mulman.
Here.
Michael Parlavecchia.
Here.
Annette is not here. She has an excused absence. Ashley Schultz is not here due to an unexpected emergency situation. Richard Wasserman.
Here.
Stephen Weiner.
Here.
Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, at the start of all our meetings, we read the mission statement. The purpose of the Special Improvement District is to promote, grow, and support local businesses, property owners, residents, and visitors. Millburn Township SID ordinance designates a new district management corporation whose mission is to encourage the economic, cultural, and social vitality of Millburn Township through increased marketing and visibility, improved and renewed infrastructure, and local business development and engagement. Approval of minutes. You have as attachment 1 to your package, minutes from the March 14th, 2023 meeting. Does anybody have, I was not there, so I can't vote on it. Arlo, the same. Who's eligible to vote? Let's, okay, does anybody have any additions, changes,
Me?
deletions?
Yes, and Annette.
Yeah, I can second it. I'll second it.
Mover, Lex.
So was that enough of us to vote? It'll be myself and Lex.
Yeah, it's those eligible.
Okay. Alexa Clark.
In
And
a second.
I second
Richard.
it. I second it.
Okay. Who made the motion?
She made the
Okay, you made the
I-
motion,
I
Richard seconded,
Now you
okay.
roll call vote.
And now the roll call vote. Alexa Clark.
Yes.
Tracy Katz-Levine. Yes. That is everyone who is here and eligible to vote.
If you wouldn't mind just calling all the rolls, if the members wish to abstain, they
Okay.
can, but that is a vote for purposes of quorum and validating the vote.
Okay. So Carlo is not appointed yet. I'm gonna skip that. Michael,
So
He can vote.
He
Oh,
can
he
vote.
can
You
vote.
just have to.
oh, he just has to say no vote. Is it a no vote?
No, it's, so he can vote and he can vote yes or no, although he was not here. And he can also abstain, and all of those are votes,
Mhm.
Okay.
so. Yes, thank you. That's fine.
Okay. Michael Parlavecchia.
I'll abstain.
Okay. Annette is not here. Ashley is not here. Stephen Weiner.
Abstain.
Thank you.
And we have the affirmative votes.
Yes. It was an exercise that
Yeah.
you do have to go
We got it. Okay. So that's that. All right, we have, let's see, committee reports, bylaws, governance, and finance. First, let's welcome, see our new member up here, Carlo Caparuva, who is, it's his first meeting. Carlo comes to us from Commercial Midtown Realty, business he operates. Stephen and I had the pleasure of meeting him, I don't know, a few months ago. And despite all that, he's still here. So I'm really glad to welcome him. Carlo, if you want to say hello, just introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name's Carlo Caparuva. I'm with Midtown Commercial. We've been down 4 years. We're at 636 Morris Turnpike. We've quietly done a number of transactions, believe it or not, in town. We've brought a number of retailers and office tenants in town, and I've been doing this about 30 years, so I know many of the landlords and the tenants who are already here. So the one thing I like to do is just kind of we just pay it back a little bit and just really pay it forward and help things out as I can. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Carl, and thanks for being here.
Welcome.
Chairman, just for the record, he has been appointed to Andrew Morgan's
Thank you.
seat, which he did not take up after his term expired. So Carlo was appointed through the end of 2025.
Okay, so filling the term,
No, it was an expired term,
expired term.
but no one had been appointed
Right.
Until Carlo accepted. So he is serving a full 3-year term starting now through the end of
And
2025.
that's business owner slot,
Property owner.
property owner.
Yes, because he now owns a property on Upper Millburn Avenue as well.
Perfect. Okay, and he's taken his oath of office and away we go. Thank you, Carlo. Treasurer's report, Stevie. Oh,
Here you go, Sharon.
fast.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it came up fast. Item number 2 in your packet, it's the kind of our balance at it indicates our budget and where we stand on expenses and income. So the balance of the bank as of March 31 was $81,225. Just to point out a couple things on the sheet, which are of note. The special assessment, just to show progress of the amount of collection, where we're expecting $204,000, and we have collected 45% of that as of March 31. So we're well on our way. The next item, the township allocation for our executive director's salary. We've collected 26% of that, but in May, we expect, it's pending approval of the township committee. Once approved, we'll get the full 100% allocation. And so we expect that in May sometime.
The municipal budget needs to be approved.
The budget needs to be approved. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And Jesse's going to speak about that.
Perfect. And just lastly, on the very bottom, just to show you that we have spent so far this year about $63,000, and that's about a quarter, roughly 24.14% of our entire collection. So we're right on track based on the fact that we're in April. So that is the report.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay, next up, under this committee report, having an attorney's report on the Bear Properties case from Mr. Cooper.
Certainly. I expect to have more to report, but there was an extension in the case. So the Bear Properties plaintiffs filed a motion to ask the court to put into an escrow or trust account all the special assessment collected from the SID property owners. That's the assessment that funds this entity. Had asked those funds be put in escrow. That motion was originally scheduled to be decided last Friday. It has been adjourned.
Right, just that properties assessment, not all assessments.
Well, no, so it's a properties and there's a great ambiguity. I'll touch upon that issue. So it asks that properties, the assessment that is being assessed against the properties that are in the SID, that special assessment funds this entity's operations. And ask that those assessment dollars be put aside in escrow while the Bear Properties plaintiffs litigate what they contend is an ordinance that should be invalidated. There's an ambiguity as to what properties are within the scope of that, and I'll touch upon that in a second. That motion was originally scheduled to be decided by the court on Friday, April 14th. It's been adjourned 2 weeks until the 28th, so I don't have an update on a decision on that. Township's attorneys, which are defending the case, and arguing quite comprehensively that the ordinance creating the SID is valid, put in their opposition brief in opposition to that. So as they pointed out, among the issues with the motion is the ambiguity. Are we talking about just the assessment for the plaintiff properties, or are we talking about all of the properties in the SID? There's a lot of procedural issues if it is the latter. There's a huge amount of procedural issues the motion at threshold. I'm happy to get into details. I don't know how much of the legal standards that it's involved. I thought the township attorney's opposition brief was very good, was very thorough, was very comprehensive. And I look forward to the court's hearing on the 28th. I'll continue to monitor that closely.
So at this point, we should probably put this back on the next meeting agenda, assuming we'll have a decision.
Be happy to talk about it then at the next meeting. And in the interim, of course, I'll email this board with an update as soon as I learn more.
Thanks,
I have
Ryan.
a question.
Yes.
Just, I missed what you said at the beginning, the Bear Properties case itself,
So the
What's
Bears
the
Properties
status
case
of that?
was filed in 21 and at the risk of over-explaining it, because I know you all know this, but also for the benefit of the public. So in 2021, almost 2 years ago, property owner whose property is within the SID.
Can I just ask him to give this and not you? Thank you.
A property owner within the SID filed a lawsuit challenging the ordinance. Among the contentions of that plaintiff is that the ordinance is invalid, and therefore the SID wasn't created by the ordinance. So that's been pending for about 1.5 years to 2 years now. It is a 21 docket and filed in 2021. At the time that complaint was filed, there was no request to put the ordinance on hold, to stay the implementation of the ordinance, to ask for what would be called a preliminary injunction. That would be all the things you would ordinarily do if you thought that was relief that you were entitled to. But that was never done. Fast forward to almost 2 years now, the plaintiffs, I guess, have woken up to the idea that maybe they might want to ask for that relief. And so that's the basis of that motion. But I think there's a lot of legal and procedural flaws inherent in that request for relief. But that is a position that the township's attorneys are arguing right now. And like I said, it's scheduled for a hearing on the 28th. I will caveat that doesn't mean it actually will be heard on the 28th. The courts are severely understaffed and behind right now. I have another case for a motion that was filed in October that's scheduled for a decision on May 26th, and fingers crossed that we're actually going to get a decision on that case at that time as well. So it's certainly scheduled for decision at that point in time, but as soon as I have a decision or news to update you with, I will do so. But there's always a caveat that the court may adjourn it further.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ryan? Thanks, Ryan. Moving along. It's committee report. We have marketing, branding, and placemaking. Let's turn this to Steve.
No, it's going to be the lot 14 images, Jesse. Yep, A, Upper Millburn Avenue. It's the individual document. Yep, perfect. Okay, so we spoke briefly. I promise this will be, normally when I stand up here 20 minutes later, I stop, but this will be very quick, I promise. Lot 14, which is the large municipal lot on Upper Millburn Avenue, behind the large commercial strip. It is scheduled for repaving and additional improvements this summer. That's a municipal project, obviously managed by the township. Because we have essentially taken over the branding and signage for the town, we did the downtown re-signage, we did the parking deck re-signage. They're all consistent with a branding guidelines that we have. Alex McDonald, our business administrator, has asked Explore to manage the signage portion of this project. So there'll be 8 signs dedicated to parking specifically, 2 welcome signs that are going to replace existing out-of-date signs. And then we are waiting on some engineering results for us to then put in some pedestrian wayfinding signs. For those of you that are familiar with that lot, there's no cut through through the building to Upper Millburn Avenue, so you have to go around either to the right or the left. And so there's some pedestrian safety concerns. Engineering is looking at lighting, sidewalk expansions, things like that. So the pedestrian wayfinding is a little bit of a TBD until we know more from the engineering department. We do have a meeting scheduled for next week with all the department heads involved, including ourselves. But just a quick overview of what this is going to look like eventually. Jesse, if you go to the next slide. So the two yellow dots are the Welcome to Upper Millburn Avenue signage that will be consistent with the Explore Millburn branding. So Upper Millburn Avenue is designated in a yellow color, and you'll see that momentarily in the additional images. Downtown is blue, Wyoming is red, and so on. And then the light blue images here are parking directional signages with the goal of trying to capture vehicles as they come out of downtown, which is the blue image on the right of the screen, or as they're coming from Morris Turnpike, which is the blue image on the left side. And we go to the next slide. In speaking with Alex McDonald, he had asked that we keep all of the branding for all parking within the town the same. So downtown, we started with that very core sort of Millburn blue. That is going to carry over into Upper Millburn Avenue as well. His concern was that while we do have 5 colors as part of our branding package, that if we start putting different colors in different areas, it may become confusing for drivers. So we're just going to keep this as blue. So lot 2 is the parking deck that's located downtown. We are simply going to mimic that with lot 14, which is the one on Upper Millburn Avenue. And then you go to the next slide. This is what the actual signs, there's 8 of them that are going to be installed. So depending on where you are and how you're approaching, these are the different signs you'll see. And then the next slide, there are 2 Upper Millburn Avenue signs that were installed by the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know when, it's probably been quite some time. They're rusted and fairly damaged, and they don't match any of the branding that we put forward for the town. So we're going to remove those. We have 2 options, so or 4 options really, based on design. But I'll certainly, we just received these this week. We'll bring them to our marketing committee and get their thoughts, and then the 2 of them will be replaced as part of this project with one of those 4 options that we decide on. And then that will be the branding guideline going forward for other welcome signs that may need to be replaced over the years. We do have a 5-year signage program. We are in the 3rd phase now. So you have 2 additional phases for 24 and 25 that are in the preliminary stages. And just as a note, there's no cost to Explore to do this. This is part of the municipal project to replace the lot or improve the lot. So we are simply handling this as a project management through obviously the funding that we collect through our assessment that allows us to handle this on a day-to-day basis.
Steve, on this sign replacement, will we use the existing signpost?
So we're going to use the existing signpost. It's to be determined if we're going to use that existing arm. The arm, it's a little out of date. I think that's a conversation for Amanda and Lex and Tracy as the marketing committee as to what they think. It's a fairly small piece of the project. We want to change that arm, but there's no reason to change the 2 poles. They're both embedded in concrete, and there's no structural issues. Any questions? Yes.
When you say the arm, you're talking about the wrought iron curly Q above, that's what.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's only bolted into the sign. It's not part of the structure itself. And then the other one, so this is the one sort of in front of the bagel pantry. Then there's another one that's in front of Weichert Realty as you go towards Short Hills Avenue. So there's only 2 of them.
And Steve,
Mhm.
before we took this on, I mean, the signage in the town, I mean, I'm just giving a little background. It was almost non-existent or really outdated signage for the parking deck. And I want to compliment Steve on taking the lead on this for the township, because it's all these little things that really add up to easier parking for guests that come to the township. This without the signage,
And you know,
where to park, you don't know where to
it
go.
really is testament back to, you guys meeting in the summer and fall of 2020 when you were coming up with a logo and a branding book. We're implementing those same rules today, right? The colors that you're seeing and the logo you're seeing in 2023 is stuff that you guys conceived in 2020, right? We've stuck to it. We've allowed ourselves to have that consistency. And then the hope is that these signs live for a very long time and they're going to have the same branding consistency throughout the town. So that's very important for all of us that are involved in the committee and the staff.
I just have a question about the preference. Is there some theory that says a black background is better or a white background is better because of night? And will they be illuminated at all or no?
No, these won't be illuminated other than normal street lights that are there. I think there's pluses and minuses. Blue is probably easier to see at night. I think white might blend into the sky. On the other hand, white gets dirtier, as you can see from those images. The metal has rusted down And so there's 2 rust lines along that white sign. So I think it's up for discussion. I'm not sure that either one is better than the other. I think there's pluses and minuses.
The marketing committee will make a recommendation.
The marketing committee will make a recommendation.
And then how long is the execution, once the marketing committee has decided,
Mhm.
then the rollout is 6-8 weeks, or is it longer depending
I
on
would
when-
say, 8 weeks is probably a good conservative number. There are, as we saw with the parking deck, there are some delivery issues with signage. But this will happen independent of the construction in the lot. Because none of these signs that we've talked about, other than those pedestrian wayfinding, right? The parking signs, the entrances to the parking lots aren't gonna change. And these 2 welcome signs aren't gonna change. So that can be done before the work is even started. It's only the other signs that'll have to go in afterwards. So it'll be kind of a multi-phase program, but once it's done, once the lot's done, this will be done, we move on to the next phase.
What's the schedule? I'm sorry.
Okay.
What's the schedule for the lot construction?
We've been saying July, August. Do you agree, Jesse? I guess we'll find out next week. Yeah.
prefer to talk to the engineer.
I mean, the goal is to do it during the summer down period, so I think realistically, it's gonna be sometime July, August. We'll know more next week, and then we'll certainly keep this on the agenda to report back. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Amanda, you have the next item, spring plantings and streetscape.
All right,
Next 2, actually.
Yeah.
Just gonna roll right in.
okay, well, good evening, everyone. So we have a lot to discuss with spring plantings and the streetscape plan. You may have noticed already that the tree pits have been cleaned and mulched throughout town, so take a look at that if you haven't seen it. What I'm currently working on is to try and partner with the builders at the Metropolitan, as well as the Beautification League, so that we can design our planters to coincide with theirs if possible. So once I get information from them on what their specific plans are, then we can look at what we have, put together a proposal and get an RFP out there to get some bids. So that's in process at this point. I should be reporting the results of that at the next meeting. And then upcoming events. So that's in your packet, attachment numbers. Did I? I did.
Jess, can you pull up the public art
Yep.
presentation?
So. Okay. We have a lot going on.
Sorry, I'm giving you guys a.
Yeah, okay, just like sprinkling.
It's been a long
Pub-
founding days.
You
here,
guys,
a lot.
you're still in the
We're very
marketing.
tired.
I know, you're still in the marketing part. The upcoming event and restaurant week is next section. So I
Okay.
think your next thing here is just public art program.
Public art, okay, yep.
There's a
So,
lot.
Jesse, if you want to pull up the parking kiosk public art. So this was part of the work that we had envisioned from the fall. And these are window clings that are, they're Anne Shashki's pastels. And so I did a lot of research on the safety of height, so some people feel safe while they're working in the kiosk, visibility, everything. Worked with heat on that as well, and so we were able to install one today. And then there's 3 other parking kiosks that will install the rest of the clings in tomorrow. But if you take a look when you leave the meeting, especially tomorrow, it really does look lovely. It's translucent and we're really proud of this project.
Are all the kiosks gonna have the same design?
Yes, yep, there's actually 2 different pastel drawings in there. They're similar, but a little different, so that's what we're doing for now, and they were installed quite easily. So that's that project.
How long will they stay there?
I don't have a number offhand, but they're supposed to last for a good bit of time. I can get back to you on that.
So they're on the inside?
No, they're on
Or
the outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the outside facing inside.
Yeah, you can, when you order window clings, you choose how it's gonna go, and this is It's a cling, it's not glued, it's not adhesed, so we're not damaging anything or creating a problem for the future.
It's an extremely thin film,
Yes,
so you can't even tell that it's on the window.
yeah, and it was great because DPW cleaned the parking kiosk before we did this. And it really made a difference, and actually we wouldn't have been able to install them if they hadn't been cleaned, because if any dust, it just repels. So it made we wouldn't be able to do the project, but so take a look at those. The rest will be completed by the end of the day tomorrow. If you want to back out of this. Okay, and then go to the Futter building. So the new owners of Goldberg's, Chris is a amateur photographer. He's here usually late doing paperwork, and so he goes out and takes pictures of Millburn at night. So we've taken these windows with permission from Mr. Futter and put these collages of Chris's work. And a lot of them you might recognize from the winter. But it's neat to see things through his perspective, and another way to, again, bring artwork to the vacant storefronts. So those were rather large. Steve and I and Jonathan from Garden State Hemp, we installed them, they're in. So that's one of the projects that's happening. The next one, actually, Steve, if you want to pick this up.
Amanda, are these window clings as well?
Yes,
And are they in the inside or
these are
outside?
on the outside.
Great,
And that just made it easier. I didn't have to go in and.
right, right.
Because those windows have a lot going on the inside.
Down
So
this bound.
these
Vowel?
Bad.
these mandalas are designed by Carol Nussbaum, and she is inspired by nature and other things, and she takes all these photos and then chops them up and collages them into mandalas.
Well, they can see on TV.
Her work is just awesome. She gave us 10 images that we could use, and so these are actually 2 feet by 2 feet, and they're going to go into Carlos building, the old bridal shop on Upper Millburn Ave. It'll be every other window, and that'll be happening next week. So really happy with this project. I think we'll be doing a lot more of this type of work. And we can remove them and we can use them somewhere else. So I think it's
Oh, you
just.
can reuse them
Yeah.
once they're down.
Yeah. So that's that project, and then.
I'm sorry, you said there will be 8 of them?
10, a total of 10. Mhm. And they're 10 different designs.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is there anything that's near all these projects, anything that identifies like who the artists are?
That's coming. I had to get
Okay.
this done first. Our goal was to get these
Of
installed for
course,
founding
yeah.
day.
It's just so nice. I mean, it's great that we're having people that are connected like with town creating.
Well, and Chosky and Carol Nussbaum are both residents. So,
Yeah.
No, I just like
No,
with,
and then Chris
Yeah.
is the owner of
Yes,
Goldberg, and
exactly.
it's his
Yeah.
photography. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's just be really nice to
I like it.
give them the credit, but also, yeah.
just like
show
the
connection.
All Together Now, how they have the
Plaque.
the plaque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my intention, is to put a plaque like Cling on the windows, and then other artwork will have a plaque.
Great.
So that everything's a part of the public art program. Oh, yeah, and so.
This is for you too, Tracy.
Yeah, so once we get through founding day and next week, I'm gonna be adding a drop-down menu item to our website, the Explore website for public art. So that'll, list all these locations and have images and everything, and artist statements, you name it. So we're building. And then a couple things that are gonna happen. One is, if you can go back to the folder, Jesse, the one that. Short Hill Station. So that one first. So Style and Canine, the edge of Short Hill Station. We have permission from Peter Nallett to put a mural in there, but he didn't want anything permanent. So we're doing a banner style one. So it's gonna be off to the right. And the reason it has to be high is because there's always cars parked there from the gas station. So we don't want people trying to get through them to see it. If you want to pull up the next image, This is her mural. She had designed it to be painted. We got a lot of different feedback from Sita on this. She made a variety of changes. So now this is the final, being printed as we speak. And then will be installed by DPW probably by the end of next week. So now Short Hill Station is going to have a piece of public art. And then Upper Millburn now. So we're working our way through the districts to kind of add these beautiful elements. And then the other one, if you want to close this folder and open Must Art mural installation. So as part of Founding Day, a new feature is we've hired Main Street Pops to organize a fine art show for us. There's going to be over 20 artists ranging from origami artists to the kind of moss art to.
What if you could do it?
Oh,
SEO.
So some people are painters, there's all kinds, it's gonna be lovely, and they're gonna be in different parts of the downtown and the courtyard area and the art alley near Teen Skin and the little brick alcove, and then on Taylor Park as well. And one of those artists is Must Art, who has done things around the world, a lot locally. And he is going to do a live mural installation in the art alley, painted directly on the brick from 12 to 3 on Founding Day. So this is just a little bit about him. If you want to you can hit play now.
Smarter and faster. With Wix, you can edit your meta tag.
I think that's enough, Jesse, you can stop. But just wanted to give you a sense of how he works. So his spray cans are other people's art brushes. So that's gonna be happening. And I think,
Do we have the design of what he's gonna do? Or,
we have a
concept?
mural that he's done before that is gonna inspire what he's doing.
Okay.
So I can send that to you, but it's not gonna be exact. It's a lot of circles, kind of nature themed with the elements and lots of pops of color. So it'll really fit in well in the art alley.
Where in the art alley?
So between, so if Goldberg's is over here, Springbone is here, it's gonna be on the brick wall between the side door to Tie House, and there's an exterior exhaust fan from Springbone. So it's that patch. It's
So to the right of the item mural?
yes, yes, to the right. Yep, exactly. That it's gonna be approximately 4 feet high by 8 feet wide, so it'll be a similar dimension to the wooden paneled piece that greets you when you walk in from Millburn Avenue.
Right.
Right.
Yep. So that's one of, and then there's one more that it's not in here, but Jesus is working on a community arts project as well at Founding Day as part of the fine art show. And then once we have that, we'll be able to determine where we can install it. So lots of public art happening. Very excited about the variety and working with locals and local residents and artists on that. Steve, am I missing anything?
Great job.
Okay, so any questions?
No,
All right,
not at all.
so then the next thing.
Are you going down to events and planning now?
I guess so.
I jumped right
All right, so that would be Steve, Memorial Day Parade.
Oh, yes, this will be easy. Everybody has in their, on their desks, the Memorial Day Parade. We've been asked to participate as a board. So that's Monday, May 29th, which is Memorial Day itself, 11 a.m. Millburn High School to Taylor Park. We'll have our Explore banner. And if you would like to join us with your family, friends, please do. So that is on our calendar, and you all have a reminder to put on your fridge.
that it?
That's it.
Okay,
Upcoming events,
all right,
this is number 3,
okay,
right?
yes.
Attachment 3.
All right, so as Jackie says, never stop moving or don't slow down.
Don't slow down.
We have not slowed down. So one of the things there was a correction I just need to make. The May 11th mixer that we had scheduled has been postponed. The business we're working with, their opening is further out in the summer, so we're looking to reschedule that. So that's just something that's a correction. And then, let me just go over this really quickly. So Founding Day, I know Jackie will speak to in great detail. We're continuing our business education with understanding your financial statements. This is another UC EDC presentation, and it's sponsored by Citizens Bank. And that's gonna be on April 26th. And then we're providing a customer lifetime value training in 2 parts. And that's gonna be on May 2nd and May 4th. And then the professional focus group, I'll have more information for you later on. We may have to move that. And then CETA Sunday, I think that's something that Jackie, you can speak to.
Yes.
So those are the events right now. Girls' Night Out is coming up. That'll be in the next packet, and that's on June 8th. The committee's been awesome. That's Jean from SLT My Skin. It is Nadej, who have the bookshop and has property in town. Kelly and Corinne from Real Style Exchange, and Vicky from Shala's, and everyone has just been putting so much great energy into it. I feel like we're just having fun. And so we have over 20 businesses registered so far to participate. And Vicky, do you want to?
We just got Moonshine as our after party sponsor for Girls Night Out.
Yes, so congratulations. Thank you, Vicky, for taking
Wow,
care of
that's
that.
great.
$1,000 value.
Thursday, June 8th.
Yes, yes, so
They're doing a barter with us. Vicky did a great job getting that, so
yeah,
thank
we
you.
just got it today. So you'll have a new assignment
Thank
tomorrow.
you, Victor.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
So anyway, just wanted to thank Vicky and just mention that event is going along smoothly. Okay, now, next up is Restaurant Week, and I'll try and move it along. There's a lot to cover, but we'll, so, yeah, Jesse, if you wanna bring up the folder. Yeah, you can do the PowerPoint first. So I tried to just cover things that would be of interest and that are important, because there's just so much detail with this event. So first of all, we had 30 participants. And that was not just restaurants, eateries, bakeries, wine and spirit shops, over 20 different cuisines. And this was more than your normal prefix offerings. People would have a free dessert with dinner. They would offer a free appetizer with an entree. And then we had some other things where like you spend 25 and you get this, you spend 20 and you get that. And a couple things I wanted to highlight, and it's not just because of Splurge being here, but it was absolutely adorable. Splurge had candy stripers walk around 2 of the 3, I think it was that Thursday night, Friday night, giving out samples. And it was just adorable. And these girls, I'm not sure if they're teenagers or in college, but they were dressed the part, and it was just something special. So we're hoping to do that again for Girls Night Out. And the other thing I wanted to mention, which was really unique, and if some of you have heard this, La Pergola got a 60-inch round of Parmesan. And they used that to make a special pasta for restaurant.
Carlos' eyes.
Yeah, so it's phenomenal. And so what they did is Monday through Thursday of Restaurant Week, everyone that dined with them for dinner would get a special side to try this dish. And they were literally rolling the pasta in the melted cheese and then putting it in the dish. So everyone kind of used their strengths in Restaurant Week, which I think made it even more unique than other offerings out there. And I look forward to them doing the same thing next year.
So those are just a couple of unique things that were happening. I know Steve got us connected with Opportunity Project, and then I kind of took over with them. And they, if you don't know who they are, they're a Millburn-based nonprofit. They work with people that have had brain injuries on helping them recover and get skills when they get back into the community.
There's a letter in your packet.
Yeah, and I'll go over highlights from that, but March is also Brain Injury Awareness Month, so it just made sense for us to work with them on so many levels. And so I want to highlight, let me see if you go to the next slide. I don't know why it's showing up like this, but they said in general, it created visibility for them, provided the opportunity to build relationships, provided the opportunity to thank longtime supporters, empowered OP members to build vocational skills. So the gentleman pictured, he was a greeter at Boxcar for an evening. And then they raised over $6,000 for their nonprofit through sponsorships and through restaurants donating as well. So I think it was a really great start for a first event. Loved working with Julie over there. If you go to the next slide, there's even more specifics. So we talked about Mike and how much money they raised, and the restaurants that have given financial support so far were Basilico, Boxcar, Common Lot, La Pergola, Live Breads, Millburn Deli, the Millburn Standard, and Taste Buddy. And then the Lobster Shack, this is really awesome. The Lobster Shack is going to design an apparel line and give a percentage of that, the sales to Opportunity Project.
Wow.
So because of connecting Opportunity Project with the restaurants, this has become so much more of a community effort. And then La Strada Nuova and Boxcar are going to be offered paid employment opportunities to OP members. And then Taste Buddy, Live Bread, Jack's Lobster Shack, and Boxcar are going to also offer volunteer opportunities. So this allows people to get out there, be around other people, get comfortable in a setting. Just awesome. Splurge has also been a longtime supporter of Opportunity Project by providing baked goods to their annual golf outing. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, but these are just some highlights from there. Did you have anything you wanted to mention? But they were more than pleased to work with us, and we look forward to working with them again next year. If you want to go to the next slide, just want to go over marketing briefly. So we went all out on this, and I'll pass this around. We got the cover of the Millburn-Short Hills Monthly for March. So we want to be in print, we want to be online, and this is one way we did that. It was really a great opportunity for us. And then our Restaurant Week posters in the storefronts, that's another print. We had a dedicated e-blast from Edible, New Jersey, just about our Restaurant Week. So that was really phenomenal. Yelp, New Jersey, they did an Instagram contest for us, and people voted for their favorite restaurants. And then we had the Explore page, which was really robust. And we had a profile that I think a lot of you have seen for each one that talked about the restaurant, their specials, whether they have vegan or vegetarian options, if they made the desserts in-house, that kind of thing. We did our dedicated e-blast, and then influencers, which I want to talk about. Jesse, if you go to the next slide, you're already there. Okay, so this was our event to really take that step forward and pursue influencers for the event. So the people that ended up working with us at Jersey Bites, at Jessica Chews, at My Inner Fat Kid is out, Savoring Summit, the Tipsy Critics in Yelp, New Jersey. These numbers as of March 8th are how many followers they have. So we're dealing with people that really bring a lot of friends to the equation. So Jessica Chews did the first image is her video, and up to now they're just under 9,000 views. Now normally a reel for us, if we get 500 views, that's a good day. So 9,000 is phenomenal. Over here, that is a meal at Moonshine, and that was My Inner Fat Kid, and he just does these slow-mo of cutting into things, and people are just fascinated by it. So it brought us so much visibility. I believe I have the Instagram account. Can you bring that up, Jesse? I just want, so everyone can see Jessica's, no, it's in the folder.
When he gets it open on the browser.
It's a link. Oh, maybe you already have it open. Instagram. Okay, if you can scroll down. Yeah, it's gonna be a. As you can see, we have a lot of content. All right. It's not gonna let us go. Okay. Well, I'll send a link. I'll have Steve send it if I don't send it, just to make sure you see Jessica's video because it was lovely. And it was really great to work with her. And so we know the people we want to work with again in the future. But to me, this was, and I know Steve feels the same way, this was a social media success. With the viewership and the exposure, it was just phenomenal.
So you want to use influencers in the future, like for different things?
Yeah, absolutely. My next task is to research people for Girls Night Out.
Wow.
Because you have like the Montclair Girl, other places like that. So, you know, this was a foodie event and that's who we
That'll be a
got.
happening event, yeah,
Yeah, so that's gonna be a part of our marketing strategy moving forward.
really good.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. It was really a lot of fun. And the restaurants were really excited to work with them. So just a few more statistics and I'll let you go on this. I don't know why the square is there. It's strange. Yeah, so, all right, highlights. New page likes, which Steve has been super excited about. On Instagram, and I started with February 17th because that's when we first announced the event, up until the end of March, just to have a window. And we've got over 300 new followers on Instagram from Restaurant Week, essentially. And then Facebook page went up a bit. We have got 11 there. But when you talk about percentages, it was just phenomenal to see those pop up every video, and then everybody's like. And the nice thing about this whole event was it wasn't just people liking things. There were a lot more comments. There were a lot more. It was just more engagement for sure, which was really great. The next slide is about profile views. So our Instagram account had 1,842 views within that period. And Facebook had 690, both shooting right up for us. And then the last one is reach. And as you can see with both of them, they're over 8,000 with the reach. So these are just some of the numbers. I could pull more if you have anything specific. But overall, everything just went really well for this event. We're really happy with the participation, how people participated. And the only things I did survey the restaurants and whoever did actually respond. The only things they said were, start promoting it earlier next year. And the thing that I've pulled together from this is we really need to have enough influencers to cover all of the restaurants that are participating. Everyone needs to get featured. About half of them were, which was phenomenal, but the other half that didn't, I'm sure they saw not as much support as the other ones. And restaurants, some said they did the same, others said that they had a higher revenue. They saw a lot more new faces. So overall, I think it was great, and we want to continue with Opportunity Project. So does anyone have any questions?
Okay, thank you this was a really massive effort, Amanda, for you
Steve said he wanted
especially.
We make it happen.
I don't know about that all the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I
Thank
also,
you, Amanda. Oh, sorry.
sorry, Michael, I also want to mention that it was a time when the paper mill was closed.
Yes.
So for all of those restaurants, it was an opportunity for them to have a customer flow and a client flow when they normally would not have necessarily been as busy. I can say from my own experience that Basilica was certainly grateful that they had the traction during that time, because it would normally not be as you know from scheduling, that, don't do it during paper mill, and paper mill was dark. So I think it was great. I think it was a huge success for Explore and for our businesses. So
Well,
kudos to you.
The feedback we got when we sat down to do kind of a,
Post-op.
no, just to start the event, invited people to talk about that's when we found out, they're like, well, you can't have it that week. So we moved the dates
Mhm.
to accommodate that, and I'm glad we did.
Mhm.
All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Amanda.
Yeah.
That was terrific, yeah. It's a great event. Okay, Jackie, you're up to talk about the advisory committee in CETA.
Okay, so why don't I speak about the Founding Day schedule first, and then I'll kind of skip back to Explore. So as you all know, Founding Day is upon us. April 22nd. Weather forecast looks great, so we'll be in the park and around downtown. The community cleanup is scheduled from 10 to 12 in the morning. Just gonna highlight a couple of the events. Steve, if I miss anything, please correct me. From 12 to 3, we'll have a Stuff the Bus, so please bring your non-perishable food items for the food pantry. Last year, we literally, the little minivan was quite full, and it's a time for us in the community that are more fortunate to give back to those that are less fortunate. So I encourage you, no glass jars, please, and any non-perishable items. Proteins, soups are always a particular, canned soups, canned meats, sauces, pasta, beans, tuna fish, those kinds of things are always, snacks for children for lunches, those kinds of things are always, cereal. So bring your bag when you come for the event. There'll be live music from 12 to 2, Florian Chants, 19th century music. Inside of Bauer, we're gonna have a variety of events sponsored by the Millburn-Short Hills Historic Society. There'll be live art demonstrations with a historic loom. You'll have the 4 different areas that will have the art show. You'll have the art alley. You'll have the courtyard. You have the area across from All Together Now, the little patio by Teen Skin. And the 4th is the Rose Garden. Thank you, Steve. So we'll have, art classes with One River, as Amanda mentioned, Jose Nunez, this other from Main Street Pops. Inside of Bauer, we'll have a seedling planting for you to take home for your young children. They'll have a sugar candy demo. We'll have, as I mentioned earlier, a historic society. You'll have Israel and Carolyn Condit, which were one of the founding members of Millburn. So there'll be some games. There'll be a lot of activities going on. There'll be historic tours, and all in the backdrop of the art going on all over town.
And don't forget about the birthday.
Yes,
party.
thank you, Richard. Yes, and at 3 o'clock, the culmination of event, we will be having a birthday party for our elm tree at Taylor Park that was placed in 1923. That's, yeah, 19.
18. Oh,
No, 1923. It's 100 years old.
Oh, it says
Oh, 200 years.
oh, right. Is
I
it
think
200?
it's 100 years. I think this is a typo.
Doesn't look a day over.
No, it's 100 years old. It's 100 years old. Yeah,
It's old.
it's old. Well, so that'll be, and come join, enjoy special treats. And that'll be at 3 o'clock, 3 to 3:30. So Founding Day, this will be our 2nd annual Founding Day, which is gonna be even bigger and better than last year. I'm very excited. I think there's still an opportunity to volunteer if you haven't signed up yet. If you go to the Millburn-Short Hills landing page, you can click on a link and it'll direct you to the Google Doc for sign up. So I'm very excited, and As the chair of CETA, with my colleague Richard, I really want to thank Explore and thank Steve and Amanda for all their tireless efforts every step of the way. They are a true community partner. I want to thank the township also for them, for all their support and in advance of their support on Saturday, because I know we'll be, we'll grateful for your assistance. So please come, it's going to be a great community day.
And thanks to Jackie for working around the clock and hosting Zoom meetings, and she's working overtime on this, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. So come out on Saturday and join us, and you can volunteer or just have some fun.
It sounds amazing, thank you. I was talking with Steve earlier, just confirming that we're gonna have an Explore table.
Yes,
there.
yes.
And that'll be a nice opportunity to also, part of our whole marketing committee branding is making people more aware. People see all of these great things, Restaurant Week and public art and all of that, but don't necessarily realize that it's all sponsored by Explore. So
And we're gonna
leverage
be.
the opportunity to also gain more
Showcase,
followers on
yes.
social, have people sign up to get our emails, et cetera.
And so just two other things that come out of this in terms of Explorer's work. The art show, the 22 artists that we have now, most of that is funded through a grant we have from Essex County for public art. We secured that last year. It's in this fiscal year. We have about $8,000 that goes towards public art and public art marketing. So none of this work would have been possible without the support from Essex County. And then also Tracy and the marketing committee had talked about creating postcards that can be updated per event. So we have what we call signature events, right? So Restaurant Week, Founding Day, Girls Night Out, a handful of others that are our signature events for the year, right? What we're going to be doing at this event at Founding Day is you're going to get a postcard that has Founding Day information on one side, and on the back, it's going to have information about Girls Night Out, because that's the next event. Then at Girls Night Out, you'll get the front with Girls Night Out, and then the back will be with the live music schedule for the pedestrian mall. And then at the pedestrian mall, and so on, so that every time we're engaging people, not only are they finding out about what we're doing at that event and who's responsible, but also that there's an upcoming event in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So thank you to the marketing committee for that, and those will be printed and ready to go for the event.
Great. So let me just, the Explore Millburn-Short Hills Advisory Committee meeting was held on March 29th at the Book House. I am the liaison as the business advisory liaison, and we met at the Book House to discuss looking forward to some of the potential challenges that could face businesses in the future. Another natural disaster, God forbid, like Hurricane Ida, COVID, or a similar pandemic, or any general financial challenges that are facing our businesses. In reality, these three topics that we thought would be top of mind for our businesses, they really had other concerns. And those issues for them were really public safety and staffing. Public safety being a couple of things that, some of the area on Upper Millburn, our parking lots in general, lighting, signage. The discussion ensued about potential areas for improvement, as you heard earlier. Some of this is being discussed in terms of improvement. Some of the other things that we talked about was perhaps emergency call boxes, or providing some additional lighting in the evening, and looking at options to explore safety protocols, perhaps working with our police department as well. As we get into the summer months when people are out more in the evenings and about town. The other topic of conversation was staffing. It's, anybody that reads a newspaper knows that we are in a deficit of qualified individuals, and how do we tap and how do we harness those resources to capture qualified individuals. And we're talking about what I'll call mid-level administrative customer service, technology users, front desk managers, what I'll call semi-skilled, technically skilled, thoughtful, polished communicators. Some of the businesses, are now service businesses that are after hours, when everybody else is going home, their business is just starting for with children or tutoring or services. So, or, as we move away from a work from home model, how can we engage and develop more candidates that can, and tap those resources where we could harness those individuals? So it was discussed, and we're going to begin to look at various community colleges, perhaps looking at local four-year college students that may be looking in some kind of, more of a bona fide either internship or some kind of buy-in that's going to be more of a pathway and a runway to look at and explore. We'll continue to look at developing these resources for our business community. So I plan personally to work closely with Steve and Amanda. It's kind of in my wheelhouse in executive recruiting and personnel, human resources, human capital. So this is top of mind, and this summer is the perfect time to build these relationships, because that's probably the time where it takes a little bit of a dip in terms of the need, because you've got a college community and college students looking for either internships or jobs. So, but we can begin to look at this in earnest going forward. So very productive advisory, and what I've learned, we've had these, we meet quarterly, and it's always refreshing because it's a mix of new and old. Some people that are there every meeting, some people that are, we've gotten new faces and new extensions. So and what I'm also gratified is that the representation is coming from all 5 districts. So that's also very refreshing to me, that we've been able to expand successfully to the other districts and engage them. So kudos to Steve and Amanda. Thank you.
Kudos to you. Thank you. That's a fantastic report. Thank you. I can't see.
Jesse.
Business advocacy. Jesse, you're up.
The township has recently finalized a new parking deck signage and allocation change at Lot 2. And this was done in conjunction with Explore and the Parking Ad Hoc Committee. And I just want to highlight what that new allocation is. So there's nice new signs that are in place, letting people know where to park and which types of permits and users are available in which floors and which spaces. So on the first floor, it is now completely shopper parking. It used to be a small section that was just shopper parking. It's now 103 spaces available to shoppers. On the second floor, there are 68 spaces for business permit holders, 40 spaces for 24-hour permit holders, and 22 spaces that are a hybrid for business and commuter permit holders. And on the third floor, it is 133 spaces, primarily for commuters, but after 9 a.m., it can be either business or commuter permit holders. And just some miscellaneous space counts throughout the site. There are 25 business spaces that were existing before the changes that are still in place. There are 9 handicap spaces, and there are 2 electric vehicle charging stations on the second level. Related, the township is going to make a few electric vehicle make-ready spaces for the Lot 14 reconstruction when that takes place. Additionally, at the last township committee meeting this past Tuesday night, the CFO, Matt Larissy, and Business Administrator Alex McDonald introduced the 2023 budget. That is scheduled for adoption on May 16th. And there is a public information session about the budget on May 4th. So I would urge any members of the SIG community that would like to learn more about the municipal budget to come to that session. The introduced budget and the presentation are up on the township website on the finance department page, and the public hearing associated with the final adoption will take place on May 16th.
When is it being introduced?
It was introduced this past Tuesday night.
Okay, so I thought you said it was being introduced on the 16th. Okay.
For the budget resolution, there needs to be at least 28 days between introduction and adoption, and the noticed hearing is on the date of adoption, or scheduled for adoption for May 16th.
No, I got that. I misunderstood.
Jesse, I just have one question. Are you, I know when I was more active in terms of the parking deck, we were following the occupancy. Are you guys following how occupied the parking deck is?
I can,
Yeah, so we have a parking ad hoc committee. Jesse is not part of it. It's one committee he doesn't serve on.
How could that be?
How could that be? I serve on it, that's why. So one of us was gonna get caught. So I'm on that committee with Donna Ruggiero, who is our tax collector, who also handles all the permits that get purchased, as well as Alex McDonald and our traffic sergeant, Pete Smeraldo. And so we meet on a quarterly basis. We do look at those numbers. We look at them going back 3 years, and for the most part, commuter parking is rebounding. It's certainly not where it was, but it is gaining. And so we've seen that over the last year. More people are purchasing both commuter passes as well as business owner permits. So right now, I think we still have growth, right, in terms of, it's really about messaging and enforcement, right? There's nobody that demands that you purchase your parking permits, right? You can risk it and get away with it, just like you can always risk running over the meter, right? If you don't get caught, you're happy. If you get caught, you learn a lesson. And so what we've been trying to do is get that messaging out via our social media networks, our email blasts, and then of course, the township has its own for its residents, et cetera. It's just a hard thing to get 20,000 residents plus business owners and staff to comply. But I think overall the numbers are getting much healthier.
Sure.
Yeah. And I will tell you this, we're also stepping up enforcement. And one of the big things I think I talked about at the last meeting was, we do have a double and triple parking problem in the Millburn Deli area with Grubhub and Uber Eats drivers. It was my suggestion, and they accepted it, that lot 16, which is next to the municipal recycling station on Main Street, that area is fairly underutilized during the day. So what our police officers are doing is they're going to these drivers that are double and triple parking and saying, listen, you got to go park somewhere else. We're giving you a municipal lot. We're not charging. We just want you to stay there so that we're not dealing with the pedestrian safety issues that come from that and the particular issues. So right now, I walk the streets every day. I genuinely have not seen most of the problems that we saw this time last year. So hopefully the message is working and those drivers are moving to another location. So it's a good use of underutilized space. Oh, it's my turn.
Yep, Jesse, that's it? We're good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, you're up, Steve.
Jesse, if you could just pull up the NJEDA slide. So just a quick update, New Jersey Economic Development Administrative Authority, NJEDA, has rolled out a very exciting program for small businesses. So this is a statewide program. And it is, it's focused, it's called the Small Business E-commerce Support Program. And any small business that is in the restaurant, personal care, or retail sector in New Jersey is eligible for free website, either creation or upgrades. There is no cost whatsoever. They will do website design, development, implementation. They will also do online ordering and appointment booking if you need that on your website, as well as they will design an e-commerce platform so that you can do transactions on your website. The state will also cover all of the initial associated costs, like hosting expenses and domain registrations for up to 2 years. So this is a state program through the EDA. There are about a dozen providers throughout the state, so technology firms that have been hired to do this. We are very fortunate that local business, Sid Business, New Frontier, which is owned by a friend of the Sid, David Sorkin, who maintains our website. He has been named as one of the consultants for the state. So what folks need to do is they can certainly go in and meet with David and he can explain the program. But all you have to do is go on the EDA website, go to this link, the e-commerce support program, put in the basic information, and then you will be routed to one of the dozen or so providers. And they are essentially obligated, if you meet the very basic requirements, which are, you have to be in a commercial location with a physical storefront in the state of New Jersey, and you have to be registered to do business in New Jersey. So you can't be a new business, but other than that, and you can't be a cannabis business. But other than that, you are qualified. So pretty much anybody with a storefront that is in the retail, restaurant, or personal care is eligible. So I encourage everybody, take advantage of this. The government is giving you free websites. So that is the NJEDA Small Business E-commerce Support Program, and the local provider is David Sorkin New Frontier, which is located on Main Street above the Standard.
What is that website? I'm having trouble. Is it in the materials?
Yeah, so you just have to go to the NJEDA website.
Okay.
And then it'll come up, so, and then you can apply through the website. This is not a joke. This is seriously free website design.
I know, we really need to highlight this to our businesses. I mean, it's such an amazing opportunity, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming there is some cap on budget, so
It-
the sooner
it's,
the better for people to.
What's
Yeah.
the value for this? I
Well,
mean,
it
is
could
it-
be at least
Thousands.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Right, thousands.
Thousands, right.
yeah, so we've been actively promoting it. We've been telling businesses, especially, you know, we have 500 businesses in the CID. They're all different levels of communication ability. So Amanda and I have been reaching out directly to some of the businesses that really struggle with their website, or folks that we know are looking for website enhancements, and giving them the information. So we probably already had a direct touch to 30 or 40 businesses that we know really need help. We'll continue to roll this out. I think from my understanding and speaking with David, the state expects that this is going to be very well received and very well utilized, and they're going to keep pushing it, just to have more providers and more money. I think this is great, especially, you know, for businesses that need an e-commerce platform. That's huge. That can be the difference in how you grow your business or not. And so, yeah, we're thrilled. I think it's gonna be great, and we're gonna continue to promote it. And then the other item, business education seminars, so that flows in well. As you guys know, we have a contract with the Union County Economic Development Corporation. They're a not-for-profit. We're gonna do 5 seminars this year, basically on a monthly basis. We've already done tax prep in February for small businesses. We did how to write a business plan last week. We had great attendance in here. We had about 30 businesses here. We're doing how to understand your financial statements next week, projecting financial results on May 24th, and then pricing for profitability on June 21st. All of that is available on the Explore website when you go to our events page. And there's a drop-down calendar. You'll see all of these listed. All of those are at 5:30 p.m. They last about 90 minutes, and they're in this room, and they're open to all businesses in the CID. We've also done search engine optimization training, and we just completed our second of 2 social media trainings, which I thought were phenomenal. That was a great program that we ran for businesses. And so at this point, you know, through the first quarter, we'll have done about 10 different education programs. Thrilled with it. The attendance has been very good. The engagement has been very good. Lots of questions, lots of, you know, next steps, and people engaging the consultants that we're bringing on. So overall, that's been really very, very good. So unless anybody has any questions on that, I will get to the auditor, I should say. So, Mr. Chairman.
No.
Okay. So as you know, and it's included as item number 5 in your packets, we have been actively searching for an auditor that could provide a more competitive price than what we were receiving. This year, we had budgeted, I don't want to get my number wrong. We had budgeted an estimated $7,800 for an audit. Certainly, I had felt that was a very high number. We had inherited our auditor from the town. The town, I believe, no longer works with that auditor. That has sunsetted that contract, so they're on to a new firm. We are doing the same. I went out a number of times, tried to find a new, more competitive auditor. Small nonprofit audits are not particularly attractive to most firms, or a lot of firms told us, I'm just overworked, I'm not taking any clients. I probably went through 60 different firms, to be honest with you. And then I came on to the one that we're presenting tonight, which is Wildcats and Company. They are based out of Pompton Lakes, and they are offering, and I'll just read it to you guys, it is in your packets. They're offering to perform the audit for last calendar year, so 2022, for $5,750. So that's a $2,100 savings over what we had budgeted. And then going forward, it would be for in 2023 for $6,000, 2024 for $6,250, and 2025 for $6,500. So even into 2025, we'd be spending more than $1,000 less than, can you say more than $1,000 less? Or $1,000 less than what we were already paying. So either way, this is going to be a really good savings for the organization. And this is money that we can then put back into the service portfolio and put towards the businesses. So I did speak to 5 of their references, all not-for-profits. So the Boys and Girls Club of Clifton, PALS Plus, the Pompton Lakes Bid, which they also represent, the New Jersey Association of County Tax Boards, yes, that is a thing, and the Bergen County Cooperative Library System. And so all 5 of them had absolutely rave reviews. They said that from a nonprofit accounting and nonprofit audit perspective, these guys get it. It's not that complicated to do an audit for us. It should not cost $8,000, $9,000, but also they said they're extremely responsive whenever there's financial questions that come up. And so they recommended to retain them. So I got 5 glowing reviews. Stephen and I interviewed one of the principals. We had a very good interview. And so at this point, I'm comfortable requesting that this board authorize me to proceed with executing an agreement for what is shown in section 5 in the cost proposal. So that would be an audit performed for the years of 22, 23, 24, and 25 for the prices stated there. And once we execute this agreement, we can begin almost immediately the audit that is due for the previous year.
Steve, I can add to that, I'm familiar with this firm and from having clients who've used them, and they are responsive. They have been around a long time. And frankly, our stuff isn't too hard. It's not a hard audit.
No.
They do a lot of municipal auditing, which is not easy. So I think that's great. That's a great find.
Your motion.
Motion.
I'll second.
Are we doing a
Roll
voice
call.
vote?
Yeah,
or
roll call, please.
A roll call, okay. Alexa Clark,
Yes.
Carlo Caparupa,
Yes.
Tracy Catherine, yes, Michael Palavecchio.
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Yes.
Anybody have any other new business, anything to discuss? For the good of the order stuff?
I just also want to mention that cultural engagement on Sunday, May 21st, we'll be having 1 to 4 an Indian dance and a Chinese musical presentation. So that will be at the Bauer Center. Thanks.
Okay. Nothing else. Let's go to public comment. When you're invited to speak, please come to the lectern. Are we still, we don't have anybody up there.
No one else.
Okay, clearly state your name and speak into the podium microphone, please. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Anybody wishing to speak? Mr. Feld.
Well, good evening, Jeffrey Feld. As to Founder's Day, Jackie, Millburn was carved out of Springfield.
Yes,
Yeah, it was. We both grew up. The Battle of Springfield, give them Watts, From your area, there was a famous from the church in Presbyterian Church that they ran in and got the Watts to fight because it was the last battle revolution in New Jersey was fought in this area. Also, the elm tree represents liberty. And one person that we really don't address in Founder's Day is Alexander Vanderbilt. He was like our first Chief Justice under the modern Constitution, and he's really known for fighting Boss Haig in Jersey City and making various reforms. As to, I don't know if this is technology is really geared to Steve or Jesse. I had an incident a week ago at the parking deck where I bought a ticket and I came out and I got ticketed. And I think because you changed the kiosk that there was maybe a time delay from when you pay and get your money till it hits the computer when the police officer runs around, and you might want to investigate that. As to the presentation about Bear Properties, the case was filed, I'm the superseding it to council. The case was filed originally in August of 2020 in the Chancery Division. It was transferred to the Law Division. That's where it got that's where it got the 21 docket. I just want to correct you that the case was filed originally prior to the adoption, and then there was an amended complaint filed within weeks of the adoption of the ordinance. The reason I raised that because yesterday there was very big hearings regarding affordable housing. And I wish Annette Romano was there because there were a lot of nuanced statements made by Judge Santamoro. She first said the essence of democracy is you have the right to vote out people. And this is one of the issues in the ordinance, that the board is an appointed board, it's not elected, no taxation without representation. Judge Santomoro, in connection with the Woodmont motions, she criticized and critiqued ordinances that were adopted by this township. She directed the township to amend one ordinance that we did regarding Woodmont. And she really said, if someone brought a motion or complaint within the 45 days of an ordinance that was adopted in early April for a prerogative writ, if she was a judge, she would void the ordinance as arbitrary and capricious. I just throw that out. So
Can I
when
just get, so you're talking about the, you're talking about fair share housing.
No, we're talking about ordinances adopted by the township, by the municipal attorney.
But she didn't comment on.
No,
the
but she was
I
making,
just wanted that to
she
be
was
clear.
making nuanced comments about what was happening.
But
in
she's
Millburn.
not the judge overseeing the.
No, she isn't. That's the presiding judge Moore,
Yeah.
who knows when we'll have a hearing. I mean, it's been pushed back to the 28th. I anticipated we might not hear it because he has issues that he's supposed to consider in September, and we're still waiting for hearing. And she also questioned the veracity of the notice that was issued by the township. So when people criticize my legal work, you should take that you need to balance it out by what the judge says. We're still asking Jesse responses, but what's the status of the solid waste removal ordinance? Because that affects businesses. The state best practices insurance registration ordinance that's required by state, that's going to impact businesses in this town. We still have not had answers. It's interesting about the calendar year 2023 Main Street closure. That will be coming up for an ordinance. There needs to be a traffic study. I don't know if the police chief is capable of doing that. And it's interesting.
Could you just take another 30 seconds?
I will,
Thanks.
because it was interesting, what you just mentioned, by putting the drivers at that lot. What happens when Main Street is closed during those 2 or 3 months? How far do you direct them? You know, then do we add to traffic? I'm just saying that if you're saying that we have a solution now, does that change when Main Street closure? Because that issue just came up now. But again, thank you. I will be there on Saturday for Founder's Day, celebrating the birthday of the elm tree, which is a symbol of liberty.
Thank you, Mr. Feld. Anyone else wish to speak at this time?
I'll keep time. The batteries
Yeah.
aren't working.
Batteries.
Short and sweet. Vicky Powell, Shala 358C, Millburn Avenue. I just want to comment on the training that you guys have done. This is my pad of notes. I've done every single one of the SEO and the website and the social media. Fabulous, out of the park. I even suggested maybe we do digital marketing, email marketing, which would be a great asset to this that we've been doing. I think it's been it's definitely helped with the businesses. Like I said last time, I created a blog. I've done a bunch of other things. It definitely was an asset to the business community. Again, Girls Night Out, we're working very hard. It's going to be a fabulous event, June 8th, mark your calendars. Can't wait, Founding Day. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you for supporting the business community.
If I could just be anecdotal for a second, Vicki, and I'm glad to hear you say that about social media, because you're one of the businesses, listen, from my non-technological viewpoint, you utilize social media. You're very active. Your mother's, she's my personal celebrity. I follow her. She's there in the kitchen on a Sunday. But so you're finding things that are new and helpful to you.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not at.
If you don't have social
baseline zero.
media today with a business, you can't compete with anything. And it's the TikToks and the Instagrams and the Facebooks, Facebook is not relevant anymore. It's Instagram and TikTok. And I thought I knew everything, but the Jacqueline, who was the one who ran the programs, she taught me, more things that I needed to know, things that I thought that I'm doing right. It turns out that I shouldn't be doing. So it definitely was an asset. It's not only the events and, reaching out to the merchants, but it's the teaching of what we need to learn. And we didn't do this before, and it's definitely, social media is the key to the future. If you don't get on board with it, you shouldn't have a business.
Well, that was my point, that you're somebody who was engaged in it. It wasn't a foreign language.
And I'm still learning. You could, because tomorrow could be a total different platform. you know, so yes, my mother is the star of everything. I have to do everything. She's my brand.
All right, anybody else wishing to speak? And I'll take a motion to adjourn. Well, next, let me just say, next meeting, Thursday, May 18th at 6:30 PM in this room. Don't miss it. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay, so moved.
Second and a vote.
Oh, we need a vote. Some, a vote to
Second and a
adjourn.
vote.
All in favor?